Hey guys, Joe Pye here at Advanced Innovations in Austin, Texas. Welcome back to my shop. Today I'm going to do a review of a machine that I recently received. It is the Creality Falcon 2 Laser Engraver and Cutter. And this is an absolutely unbiased, unscripted, unrestricted, honest review of the product that they sent in. Now, I had no idea what to expect. I have very little experience with laser engravers and cutters. I did do some 3D prototyping with a technology called LOM, Laminate Object Manufacturing, that used lasers. It was a CO2 laser, and this is a diode laser. A diode laser is not as powerful as a CO2 laser, so I really didn't know what to expect. The machine came packaged very well. At the end of this video, I'll show you the packaging. If you want to see it, fast forward to the end and check it out. I will put the assembly of the machine at the end of the video as well. I got to say that it went together incredibly easy and incredibly fast, but there is a learning curve with something like this. You're not going to pull it out of the box, push a button, and make parts and graphics and coasters and earrings and wall art. It's just not going to happen. Unless, of course, you have some type of graphic design software and you're familiar with what it takes to create a G-code file to drive a laser like this. Anyway, let's take a look at the machine. It's on the bench beside me. And I'll point out the things that I like, and I will make a few suggestions if I was the design engineer on this project, something that I may have changed. And I can tell you that list is incredibly short. Nice little machine. Let's look at it. Before I get into unpacking this and assembling it, I want to say that I am very impressed with the way this is packaged. This is secure in the box. This is a nice high-density foam. This is built for transport. I would say worrying about damage in transport is unlikely unless this thing falls off the truck and gets run over by the truck behind it. I am very impressed with this. Very nice. So far, so good. The other box contained the enclosure. We have little tent poles that form a cube, and then a canvas cover and fittings and elbows and such to evacuate and collect the smoke that will ultimately be created from the laser. All right. Let's continue. So far, I am very impressed with the packing. Very nice. Without a doubt, one of the most attractive features of this particular machine is the 40-watt laser head. Now, with lasers, the bigger the number as far as how many watts it is concerned, the more powerful it is. You may get a 10-watt machine, a 20-watt machine, and it will still most likely do what you want it to do, but it might take several passes as opposed to the capability of a 40-watt, which is going to go through whatever you want to go through in one shot most of the time. This is an aluminum frame. It looks like it's anodized. It is a very rigid frame sitting up on legs that have little rubber tips on them, so the vibration of the machine is very small. It's nice and quiet. Indicator lights on the front telling you the status of the machine, what's going on. And on top there are buttons. There is a button, a reset button, that allows you to switch from a precise mode to a precise normal mode. It's not one or the other. It's precise or precise normal. So both of those lights will come on. They're blue. If you have a problem, the indicator lights on the front will turn red and the machine will shut down, as I believe there is a tilt mechanism in here too. In case this were to start falling off the table, you're not going to laser your initials on the wall. The unit will just shut off. That's pretty good. Comes with an air pump. This air pump is connected directly to the laser that is positioned on the gantry. And what that does is blows the smoke and debris away from the cut area to keep the lens of the machine clean, which is good. If you want a nice cut, you don't want to pass through a dirty lens, right? It's just like cleaning your eyeglasses. Keep them clean. The control panel is very self-explanatory. This is the go and pause button. This is the frame button, and that is the home. You can change the frame position, and the frame position is not like just, okay, well, what's that mean? When you load a program into this machine, you can hit that frame button, and this will dance around, and this will show you exactly the extents of where the laser is going to cut. Okay, this will draw a frame around the graphic. So if you have a round file in here, a round graphic, this is going to draw a picture frame around that circle. It's going to let you know exactly where that part is going to sit. And as it's in that frame loop, you just hit the go button right there, and the laser will self-activate and it will cut out or etch or engrave whatever you want to engrave. Now, as far as a negative is concerned, and this is one negative that I'm going to point out to anyone that might purchase this machine, as well as the people at Creality, there is nothing in the instructions anywhere that tell you that you must hit the frame button before you hit the go button. If you load a program in here with the little card that inserts right here on the side, it's literally that easy. Create the program on the card, plug it in, press the button. There's nothing that tells you frame it. As soon as you're happy with where it's going to burn, initiate the burn. You will be very frustrated trying to figure out why your system does not work because they left that detail out. Unauthorized use of this machine can be controlled. Lock it out. When you're done, turn it off, take the keys with you. Boom. This is an oops button if something goes wrong, if a part moves in the system, if it jams, if you have a fire, if you have any problems whatsoever. Mash this, shut it down. All the connections are plug and play. Naturally, these are clocked components, which means they only go in at one rotation, so don't jam it in as you're trying to assemble it. Rotate it gently until it feels like it wants to enter the plug, and then do it. 400 millimeter footprint. This is a 15.6 inches all the way around, and there's several different things you can put under your laser head. You can put in an elevated perforated platen like this if you're going to cut through your material. If you're trying to cut through something, the last thing you want to do is have the laser cut through it, hit something solid, and bounce back. It compromises the power of the laser, and chances are it will compromise the integrity of your part as well. So get one of these, make sure that your part is up on top of that, and put something underneath this as well. Because when the laser passes through your part and passes through the honeycomb here, whatever's underneath, chances are that's going to get burned as well. So put a piece of metal or something under it. This actually came with two pieces of, I believe it's aluminum. There you go. The enclosure does come with a smoke, or a smoke enclosure is available. This is an accessory, I believe. There's a USB fan. Some assembly required. If you want to see how this was assembled, by all means, cut to the end of the video, and I'll show you how easy it was to assemble this. The front is a zip, so you can access the inside of the cabinet. The inside of the enclosure is velcroed to the frame, keeping everything nice and tight, keeping the smoke enclosed, and all the wires pass through grommet ports on the left and right side of the machine, so you can configure this however you want. One negative, and back to the Creality people, and maybe it's just me, but when your machine is positioned in this smoke enclosure and you have to mess around with the memory card, it is very hard to get the memory card because the memory card has to be inserted from or over this way, inside the enclosure. So it would be a whole lot better for this unit if that memory card port was somewhere on the dashboard in the front or in the top so you could see it, because that smoke enclosure cuts off right about here, and to get in there and fiddle around and stick that in there, it's just a little bit awkward. Not impossible, but awkward. Another thing that I would like to see available on a machine like this is some type of potentiometer style dial that you can change the output of the laser or the speed of the unit right here at the unit. Those characteristics are inherent to the program that you load into the machine, and you can only change that by changing the program, which means shut the machine off, remove the card, go back to the computer, change the program, reload a new program, bring it back, plug it in, lather, rinse, and repeat. Now, if you're comfortable with the whole software and the machine, that's about a 5-minute gig, but it would certainly be nice to go, now it's more powerful. I don't know if that capability exists anywhere, but that's something that if I were on the design team, I would have suggested. When you start operating this with the light burn software, light like a light bulb, light burn software, you can get a 30-day free trial even if you don't have a machine. Go download that onto your computer and start messing around with it. It's pretty cool. I set up a bunch of straight lines in the program, and I just started playing with the laser to see what went through, what was deep, what wasn't deep, what drew a picture. And this little cannon here that I cut a hole in was on this side. But you can see that I had the wrong settings on what should be a line art wheel, like these. Turned out to be a catastrophic burn. So there will be a learning curve. Not too bad. It'll take you a couple days to mess around with it. Detail, fine detail. Check this out. I call this a Mayan calendar. Some people will call it an Aztec calendar. If you know exactly what that is, by all means, leave it in the comment line. But look at the detail on that. I believe it's about 1/10 of a millimeter wide on the footprint of that beam. And it took 2 tries to get this right. But boy, I tell you, I just couldn't be happier with the way that came out. The detail's amazing. Absolutely incredible. Just for yucks, I decided to create a couple of small files on my Pro Engineer software. These are DXF files. These were actually cut from a drawing. I created a drawing in my engineering software, imported it as a DXF, and at that point you can shrink it, elongate it, enlarge it proportionately, duplicate it, whatever you want to do. Little gears and little happy faces. Earrings I made for a friend of mine. Capability, 1/4-inch plywood, Luan plywood. Couple of passes, boom, pieces drop right out. You're going to get a couple of 2-inch, or 2-inch, could you imagine? This is 2mm bass plywood that came with the unit. They threw a couple of pieces of this in so you can mess around with it. And this laser goes through this like it's nothing. This looks like it was punched out. It's so clean. Thumbs up all the way. All right, let's take a look at this thing in operation. And we'll go from there. Once you've created your G-code in your program, remove the small memory card from the USB adapter and insert it into the side of the Falcon 2 unit. Power it up, you will get a white light and an audible tone to let you know you're ready to go. Prior to making your cut or starting your project, place your workpiece in the working envelope and manually move the laser head into position. Using the provided step gauge and based on the thickness of your material, set the height of the head correctly above the surface of the part. The thumb screws on the side, you have to unloosen the thumb screws on the side and then slide the entire laser physically up and down until this step, or whatever step you're looking for, just slides under the area where the laser is. Now I've noticed that there's a slight tilt to the laser head. The laser is not perfectly perpendicular. It's tilted just a little bit. So the gap in the back will be bigger than the gap in the front. But the laser is about right in the middle. So when I set my laser with the screws loose, I will slide this under the center of the housing until it just drags on the way in and just drags on the way out. And then I'm going to lock all the screws down. And you're ready to cut. Focus is not an issue. And beware when you turn the power back on. This may sit there, may not. Let's find out. Power up. The laser stays right where it is until you hit the little house button on the front of the unit. That will send the laser back to the home position. All right, let's take a look at the cut quality of that. Absolutely zero burning around the edges of this part on both sides. That's the waste material. And it's nice that it gives you that little loop in the beginning. That's called a frame feature, and you've got to go from the frame right directly to the burn. There's really no way to not do that. Sometimes it can be fussy to position your workpiece, but do be careful and don't get trapped under that laser head while it's framing. The product itself, I think these are pretty cool. This was a Pro Engineer file that I exported a drawing as a DXF. And unfortunately, this kind of machine, this is not the type of machine that you're going to pull out of the box, push a button, and make earrings or anything else. There is a learning curve with the software, but initially frustrating. Yes, it is. But when you get right down to it, it becomes very intuitive, very user-friendly, and I would highly recommend this machine. This is a lot of fun to do stuff like this. Anyway, there you go. If you want to engrave metal, if you want to mark parts in your machine shop, you're going to need to experiment somewhat with the settings, the speeds, the feeds, and the heat. And you're going to have to spray a metal engraving spray on your part, because reflectivity of any surface will compromise the function and the performance of the laser. There you go, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this. I'm certainly going to enjoy messing around with it. I will probably put these on my daughter's ears. She's a rider and she'll enjoy these. Wherever you're in the world, I hope you're well, happy, and safe. This is Joe Pye, Advanced Innovations in Austin, Texas. I'm out. Locate and attach one leg at each corner of the unit. Make sure they're nice and tight. Reposition the unit flat. Locate the air pump and remove the cover from the outlet. Locate the air line on the main frame and pass it under the unit and attach it to the air pump. Locate the power cord from the air pump and insert it into the port on the left side of the unit. Rotate the plug until it feels like it's going to go in. Locate the laser head, remove it from the bag. Take a look at the dovetail on the back of the unit and the dovetail on the gantry. Match the two up. Secure the laser with the thumb screws on the side of the gantry slide. Remove the air tube from under the retainer clips on the gantry. Move the laser head all the way to the right. Remove the Velcro strips from the power cord. Plug it into the receiver. Gently push the power cord under the clips on the gantry. Keep everything nice and clean. Make sure there's no binding and you have full range of motion with the power head. The air line from the air pump goes next to the power cord coming out of the top of the laser. Remove the little plug that they have there and stick the air line down on top of the bung. Velcro strips are provided to keep everything nice and tidy. Make sure that the lines are free from kinks and that you have full range of motion of the laser head after everything is dressed. Well, that is all it took to put this unit together. It is very straightforward, very simple. The directions are clearly marked and just incredibly fast. There are 4 leg extenders included with this particular kit, and if you want this to sit a little bit taller for whatever your personal reasons are, just add the extenders beneath, that is between the existing rubber tip leg and the frame, and then screw the entire thing together. Like I showed in the earlier part of this demonstration, there are 3 locations, there are 3 screw holes for each leg, and that just depends, or that is an option for the size of the work table that you put this on. If these legs are too far apart, then move them in to fit your table. Assembly of the smoke enclosure is incredibly straightforward. Locate and identify all the components so you're familiar with them. Everything snaps together literally in a matter of minutes. You don't need any tools for this. And there is no preferred or identified sequence to do this. You can do the top and bottom and then put the verticals in, or you can do the front and rear and put the horizontals in. Here I am doing the front and rear, which are the short sections. And then the longer horizontal sections just simply press down into the frame. Make sure it's nice and flat. You can do that by twisting the frame. If it doesn't sit flat, twist it and you'll get it there. The cover is a nice thick fabric. Pull it down over the pre-assembled frame and make sure you clear the bottom plastic corners. This will fit nice and snug when it's properly installed. Flip the unit on its back and locate the 3 Velcro tabs that are on each side of the enclosure. Wrap them around the tubes of the frame and secure the enclosure to the frame. Located on the right and left side towards the rear of the canopy are the USB fan openings. Depending on how you set your machine up and where you have it, pick a side and assemble the USB fan to the enclosure. Grill on the inside, fan on the outside, then the nozzle, secured by 4 screws. Once you're done, roll up the flap, secure it with the Velcro, and away you go. Pass-through ports for the wires and for the air hoses are on either side. Safety glass pouch. When you unzip it about halfway back and pivot the top back for easy access to the inside.